welcome to TCG353. I'm Jamie. Today we have a Yellow Enel deck list that is very cool and unique, that we're using a double attack mechanic to put pressure on our opponent and surprise them to take life early on in the game. So without further ado, let's get right into our games here now today. Our first match is up against Red Blue Ace, who is very strong. The reason that we like this matchup actually is because our deck is running 3 Rygos. The Rygo is very useful against Ace for obvious reasons. You can take away their Whitebeard on their curve, even their 8 down curve we can take it down. And we see we keep the hand at the start and we pull into a Rygo at the start also. So we have 2 Rygos in hand, which is very strong for us. It feels like we can win automatically. We, on our 4 down turn, choose to swing 9 at their leader. The fear for us is that they will be able to bounce a Jozu, for example, or something along those lines, so we just don't bother and we let them swing at us for 6 after they play down a Marco. Then they pass their turn, we give them a 2k. Our next turn now, we're actually going to get Perona value, so we put Perona down and we freeze their Marco. Fair enough, it's a blocker, maybe it didn't want to swing, but it is actually common for aces to swing Marcos. Because it's just a value engine. If I want to KO it, then it stays up. We see here our opponent plays out 2 Vistas, which is unique for their deck. Plays a Yamato, draws two and attaches a Don to their leader and swings 7 at us, which we take. We get a Satori from life and we trigger that out, discarding a Conis. So we're actually discarding the double attack. It's not going to come into play all that much this game because they have so many blockers. Speaking of, we play down the Yellow Enel event that can KO cost 2 and below quite easily, and that's what we did there. We KO'd all their Vistas and we rested our Enel. We then attach 1 to Perona, swung 6, attach 1 to Satori, swung 6 and played out a Borsas and over a 3 life with a blocker. Our opponent sees that we have a blocker and raises us a blocker. Chooses to swing 7 into a Perona. We just take the freeze on their character and that's fine. It's no problem there. They probably could have swung with the Marco blocker, but chooses not to. I think they value having the draw engines on board, which is fair enough. So now we are going to do a similar turn to last, in that we are just going to pepper them down with 6s. Let's see what they do about that. We're actually going to swing a 6 with our Borsalino as well to add on more pressure, and we are going to heal with the Gecko. The reason, and freeze the Yamato of course, the reason that we swung with the Borsalino there is because we're very safe from life, and we knew if we played in the Gekkamori and deployed the Perona that they didn't have a swinger from that, and from this game they haven't been using the Marcos to swing anyway. Now we have a choice here to make. We can trash a life to Rygo early to just get that Newgate off the board, or we can play down the Enel, and granted we won't be able to heal a life, we will be able to establish a big body on board. So you can probably see the line that we're looking for now because we attach it on immediately, so we are going to trash a life with the Rygo. We feel confident enough that our opponent won't be able to punch through if they did choose to swing all in. So we swing 6 with Perona, play down the Rygo, KO the Newgate, swing 6 with lead, and we're just going to do the same thing, swing 6 as a bunch. Could have swung a 7 here, but instead we leave 1 Don standing for no reason really. Maybe our opponent thinks we have an event. We don't run 1 cost events here. We have in our hand though, as you can see, the trash event. Our opponent plays down another Newgate, which is unfortunate for them. They are on 0 life, so they could have used a Goldie Roger, but I don't think it would have helped them all that much. They swing 8 into Perona. We use the Perona trigger to freeze their Marco just in case they were going to swing with it, and they swing 8 into our Satori. And now we're on 1 life, so we're absolutely going to use Rygo here and just KO that Newgate, and from here on we can just go a little bit more aggressive into their leader, see if they give us the block, see if they give us counter. They give us the block, so their hand size is absolutely nuts at the moment, and we swing all in into the Yamato. We could play with the Kikanojo and just not swing. That is an option for us as well, but I mean they have 13 cards in hand. We might as well start trying to get that down now. We pass the turn to our opponent. It is turn 8, 10 Don of course, and their board is actually not looking very strong. But they choose to swarm it with more blockers. So they've seen all their Marco blockers now. They've also seen all their Vistas. So they put down 2 Vistas, 1 cost blocker, and they put down Marco as well. They swing into us, we use the trigger, and we get on our last life the Haso trigger, which is a unique card, I think, in this deck anyway. I haven't seen many people use it. Slight misplay here, we should have just used the Enel Fent immediately at the start. They wouldn't have been able to trigger Izo, and they wouldn't have been able to block out of this hit here, and we could have whittled down their hand size much faster. It was just kind of hidden in the background, we forgot about it, and we remembered at the end. So we did KO, but we should have done it sooner to not let them have their hand filter with Izo. We healed back 1 with Enel, and now it's impossible for them to get us down now, unless they play the Goldie Roger, and we have no counter, which we do. So they choose the Yamato, they draw again, and at this stage their hand size is so huge and the game's been going on so long that there is a real risk that they're going to deck out. I think at this stage they have maybe 7 cards left. 7 cards left in their deck. I might highlight it there because I remember at this point I was thinking that. They play down 2k search, or draw 2 trash 1, and an Izo to search, and we get a Gekomoria trigger from top of life, and we're able to play out a Kiku. We could play out the Perona to freeze, but we can take this hit, we don't mind too much about that, because we have another Enel in hand, so we can actually heal 2 and establish 2 rushers this turn, which is very, very strong. So we're going to heal with the Enel, see what they do. They are 6k leader, we are swinging 12k, they'll have to give us 4 cards. Or maybe they have, 4 cards is really it. They use the leader effect to trash that brick, give us 2/2 and a 1. We KO their Otama just for the fun of it, swing 6 into them and just start chipping away that way. The sequencing is a little bit off here, we should have done 6, 10, 12, but what can you do? There was also an option for us to attach more to our characters and just swing big that way. We could have probably gone like 10, 10, 11, 12, but we choose not to. We go for the safe route, which is the heal, and GG's to our opponent. They are bricked up in the end. There's nothing really they could have done. They could have played another new gate, but that was only just 1 block against what we had on board. Our board was way too dominant at the end. They weren't able to put enough aggression on us early. In my opinion, they should have swung with the Marco blockers. Maybe they would have whittled down our hand size a bit better. But our triggers were nice throughout that game. The stage also came in very useful too, and that Hiso trigger allows you to draw 2. So it's actually very nice to come up in life. So now our second game is against Purple Enel, and Yellow Enel is the only deck in the game that can play against Purple Enel, and it feels free. And it is quite a good matchup for us. We swing 5 into them to give us an Altor. We play down the Zoro and trash the bear, the Kumachi. And we get the Perona trigger, but we're not going to trigger out a Kumachi, so we leave it there. And the Perona is just very useful to have in this matchup. So there is a temptation to use it immediately for this against this blocker, but we don't because they have 6 cost Enels that we're going to want to freeze eventually. And we, once the Luffy ability triggers, we swing 11 into their lead, so we have a 4 cost in life, which is probably a Triller Bark, so we are keen to use this Perona for counter eventually. There it is, and we give him a hop back as well. So now our trash is pretty much Triller Barked up, and we're happy about that. We're now facing a shore swing that could be 5, could be 6 if they Altor, and also they are after putting a holy down. At this stage, we text our opponent thinking that they lagged because something was happening on my internet at the time as well. I thought it was all just bugged, but no, they were just thinking on whether they should use Altor or not, and they choose to. We don't use the leader effect because there's just no point, and on our 8th on turn now, we are going to poke and see what happens. We're pretty okay with the holy on board because we have the Gekomori in hand that we're able to freeze it, so that's fine. But instead of doing that, we're going to go very aggressive this turn, and what we're going to do is swing 11 into life. It could have been smarter to swing 12 here and just go all in with it, because our Luffy was going to go absolutely massive, and if we were able to get 2 life, then our Luffy would have closed out that game very easily. But you can see the power of that double attack there. They gave us their whole hand to save their board, and now they have 4 cards in hand, Fair enough, so do we, but we have much more life, and also our life regenerates, so we're in a good position. We didn't use the freeze option on Holy last turn, which is, I wouldn't say a misplay, but it is something to consider. But this turn, it's exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to freeze we're going to freeze the Enel rather than the Holy. We're going to KO the Shora, and we are going to pass the turn because we've rested our Enel, so there's nothing really we can do about that. They used the 6-cost Sanji to block, cost only 3, cost 2 Enel because they have less down than us. Play out a Shora, draw, play out the Satori and draw, and now they're going to swing into us with a double attack, which we're actually fine taking because we have so many triggers in the deck. Also, we can't get beat this turn really, and we have heal options which are very nice. For example, there we also have a Borsa in hand and we have an Enel, so I mean we're in a very good spot. So our opponent is now considering on how they want this turn to play out next. They use an Altor to get rid of the Conis, and they swing into us one more time to put us down to 0, but we get a trigger on board, and now we're in a very, very strong position. We play out the Luffy, and our opponent concedes. So us playing out the Luffy there, what the logic was that Enel being Enel, they probably need events to protect themselves, and also they had a blocker on board. So every time they would have used we had 0 life. I just noticed that there. So the Luffy ability wouldn't have come into play, but I mean we had 3 5Ks, 6K, 7K and a 10K with 5 down to distribute, and our opponent also had 2K counter in hand, so we were in a very strong position. Good game to our opponent, to be fair. We could have it was a good game to them. And now let's rock into the next one, which is against Green Purple Luffy. We are going to go second. Our opponent chooses to go first. They get a Searcher off on their 2-down turn and swing 5 into us. We swing 9 into them. We don't really want to use the Piranha just yet because we won't get the freeze value off. You see that our opponent is using the event, which is a bit of a shame because we can't freeze. But we still use the trigger effect on that Kumachi to get the Piranha on board, just so we have another body to swing. And we swing 6 with our leader. We're not going to flip the Piranha down just yet. There's no point. The KO effect won't come online. And now the Piranha is much more relevant here because they can only use the stage for one of their characters. I can freeze the other one. We also have the Luffy on board, and the Green Purple Luffy in the current build uses Mamaragan quite a lot. And it also uses Gungo Giant, of course. So our opponent leaving 2 dons up, it's actually a bit dangerous for them to do such a thing, because if they do use events, then our Luffy will go huge, and we have the double attack Conis in hand as well. And that is a card we're considering using, but rather than that, I think a Roigo seems like a better line. We can go 6/6 with our Enel and our Piranha into their life to whittle down their hand. Because we don't think they're going to take here. If they do take, then the double attack option isn't really on board. They do take, okay, so double attack isn't that relevant anymore, and what we're going to do is Raigo one of the Sanji and Puddin's away. They play another one, so our opponent actually has quite a good hand for Green Purple Luffy, that they're able to use leader ability for free every turn. They're now 6k, they would have drawn with that Sanji and Puddin as well, so it replaced itself. You noticed there we left the Luffy standing. We didn't want to crack back. They did use the Brook to rest it, so they swung into it 7. And now we are considering what to do. The Conis isn't really online. It's not going to help that much, so we don't depend on it here. We swing 6 with leader. We leave the Luffy standing again because we don't want it swung into. We freeze one of their Sanji and Puddins, and we heal with Borsalino. So very strong turn from us. Our opponent uses Zorojoro and searches out a Sanji blocker. Ramps back to 10 after using the Zorojoro with the Sanji and Puddin, and now they have the prospect of big swings. They choose to swing into the Luffy as they want to. That would be a 9 into 7, an 8 into 7, which we have counter for. And it is actually very fortunate we have counter here, And we also have the blocker on board. They swing with the Brook. We have counter for that. They trash the Brook to restand the Sanji and Puddin. We block that. And now we are in a very nice spot. For this reason here, we had another Luffy in hand and we chose to save that. And now you'll see something hilarious happen here. We swing 6 into leader. I think they might Mamaragan here. Yeah, they use a Mamaragan, which was an error in all fairness. But we have a 10 cost Enel at top of life. So our Luffy is now 17,000 power. I continued the line I was on because I was still kind of worried. I don't know why. I should have just swung 17 out of respect. But yeah, I end up swinging 18 here and then 18 here. Our opponent used the Gum Gum Giant. And the effect triggers again, so I'm 28k now. And it ends up that me and my opponent talk a little while on what just happened. So if you don't know about the Luffy effect, I can tell you really quickly. It's very, very strong. What happens is when you swing into your opponent, you reveal the top card of your life. You don't flip it upwards. So you reveal it, show the cost, and then flip it back down. So if your opponent uses two events in the same turn, that means you will reveal your top life card twice, which is what happened there. I revealed an L twice. So it was plus 10 to 17, plus 10 to 17, plus 10 to 7, plus 10 to 17. So I ended up being a 27k body, and then I had attached one down for 28k, which was impossible to get out. And even the events that they had in their hand, if they kept using those events, I would have kept getting buffed up by 10k. Very, very strong, and disincentivizes people to use events and blockers, which is why it is so good into Purple Enel, and yeah, mostly Purple Enel because it uses so many events. We are now up against Red Yellow Bonney, who is actually a sleeper pick for this meta. Being able to use your leader ability to minus 1k is an underrated ability of this leader in my opinion, and also the bodies that you can spawn are really, really strong. We swing 5 into them. They're incentivized to take because they want to become 7k as soon as possible. And we play down the Kiku. You've seen there at the start we triggered a Hiso, so that means we draw 2 cards and we have 3 Conis in hand, which is a bit excessive given that we don't actually have very many Sky Island characters on the board. We don't have any, rather, and it only gives double attack to Sky Island. As you can see here, we have just pulled into Sky Island Luffy, so we're going to see what we want to do with our swings. We swing 6 first. We could have gone 5-7, but we swing 6 first. And swing 6 again. Our opponent gives us 2Ks, and we play down this Luffy and swing into them. We don't, if they have, so they're going into their 7th on turn, and if they have Zoro, which we predict that they do, because it's just a really strong 7th on turn for them, then we have enough counter to protect from a Zoro swing and from a 7k leader swing. So that was fine for us. We didn't feel too threatened by that. But in a better world, what we would have actually done there, right, is we would have left the Luffy standing so that we could use the double attack on it next turn. And if you double attack Bonney when they're at 2 life, both attacks go through at the original power. So say it's at 5k 2 life and you double attack, then you're attacking into 5k and you can get them down to 0 without their leader ability triggering until 0 life, which is good to know. Maybe a bit of a misplay there on my end because I could have done that, but we had counter in hand to protect ourselves, so we felt pretty confident in doing so. We swing 11 into their 9. Our opponent is thinking on how they want to counter out of this. I mean, we're not going to swing massively back into them again, and we use a Perona to freeze out their Hawkins, so we're actually safe now. Our opponent could of course swing into Luffy, and maybe they will. They use the Bonney, which triggers which brings a Raigo back to hand and uses their leader ability, which I was thankful for, to be honest. I thought because Bonney makes you put you back to hand, it wouldn't have triggered, but there you go. So now we're on 1 life. Our opponent has a 5k swing, a 9k swing, and a 10k swing coming for us. And we counter out of the 5. We counter out of the 10 of the 9 that goes into our Luffy, and we counter out of the next Luffy swing as well. Because we have it, why not? Luffy is definitely the way we go for lethal here. There's also a world where we just heal here, or we could Raigo, but we decide to go for lethal instead because they're only on 7k. And next turn, I know that they have that Egghead Luffy in hand, who will be fairly annoying for us to deal with. So we just choose this line here. We choose to just swing 7s. So we go attach 1 to Kiku, swing 7, attach 2 to Perona, swing 7, swing 7. And once we see here now, when they start giving us, oh, they actually didn't give us a 2k there. But we knew from the start that they were kind of bricked up because they gave us a 2k earlier. And there you go, they had 4 bricks in hand at the end. They were able to get up to, I think it was 9k, 10k counter, but couldn't actually defend fully. There was an argument to just go bigger with Kiku and bigger with Luffy, but I thought whittling down their hand size from what I knew of the cards that they had in hand was a better idea. I thought we'd get 2Ks out of hand from 7k swings. Good game to our opponent. I think we were quite fortunate to protect the Luffy in the way we did, and using the Perona then to freeze the Hawkins was fairly clutch actually. That would have put us in a more dangerous spot where maybe we would have lost the Luffy. Next game now, we are Yellow Enel. We're against Red Black Sabo, and that is still a strong deck actually. They swing 5 into us, we counter with the Kumachi. That was an error there. I remember when I did it, I was kicking myself because I should have just played down or countered with the Perona. I know they swung 6, but still I should have done 2 and a 1 because it's always useful to set up your trash for Thriller Bark. We use Heiso here, and if you don't know what that card does, it is right there. You draw a card and you give a Restodon to your leader, and then the trigger is draw 2 cards. I think it's a great card for a Sky Island deck. Allows you to swing 6 and draw a card, so it's never really bricky, and the trigger is really useful to come off because you get 2 cards for free. It can also be trash fodder if you need it later on, but it's just always useful. We get the trigger effect from Gecko, but we have nothing in trash to use, which is a bit unfortunate. So we don't use it. The Perona is not really online in this matchup at all because Sabo uses so much cost manipulation. We swing 6, we swing 7, we put down a Borsalino and pass the turn. On that previous turn there, sorry I didn't mention, our opponent could have free blocked with Sabo but chose not to and gave us counter instead. It meant that they lost 1 more card in hand rather than taking the block. Just slight misplay from them, I wanted to highlight. Our opponent swings 10 into us because the Sabo effect and all that. They actually swing with their Garp as well, which is cool to see, I guess, and get us down to 0 life, and they leave their blocker standing. So they could have swung 7 there and just got our hand size down a little more. They didn't, which is fair enough. We play out our big Enel for this turn and swing 12 of them, heal 1 life, trash a card, and we leave everything else standing. We probably could have swung the Kiku to be fair, but they had blockers and I didn't see the point. I want to keep my board healthy for the long game, which I'm sure this game will go a little bit longer, knowing how many blockers Sabo has. We get a Raigo, which is actually very useful for us because we have the Enel on board. We always have heal, and having the Raigo means we can KO something and heal on the same turn, which is incredibly good. I think we're running 3 Raigos in this deck, and to be honest, you could bring it up to 4. It's just such a strong card, but really fun card as well. We pull into the Heiso from the top of our deck, so we attach Restodon and we draw a card. We draw into the 0 cost event, which is really useful. We swing 6 with leader, 6 with the Onion, Hogback, and 8 with Kiku. Our opponent makes a huge error in my opinion there, where they use Stussy, but they trash the Borsa, probably thinking that they can go for game, but like misplays and thinks and forgets that our leader ability means that they can't. We also had counter for it, so it was all the one. They should have taken out the Enel that turn. However, if they did, we were still going to win on the crackback because we had like 2 6k bodies. Our opponent was 6k to be fair, but like their hand was fairly bricked up. I think it was 4k they had in hand. We would have swung, I'd say 8, and then if they had taken on the last 8, we would have then swung with whatever we had left was 11, so it would have been 8, 8, 11, or we could have just done 6, 6, 8, 8, and then finish with whatever was left with the numbers. Good game to our opponent. Let's go into the next game now. It's against Black Crocodile, which is a very strong deck in this meta thanks to Shadow Luffy. We'll see how we handle that in this matchup. There is a sort of decision to make when Hiso is in your hand on your first turn, because it's rare that you can do much on your first turn with Enel, from my experience anyway, that you can just use it to draw one. But giving the rest of Don, you don't get the value from that, so I choose not to. I usually keep it in hand. Our first turn, we're able to use a Zoro trash card from hand and swing with it, or not swing with it, but heal a life, and we swing 5 at their lead, which they take. They play down Daz Bones and swing into Zoro, we counter. They use Crocodile, swing into Zoro, we counter. I just want the body on board, to be honest. That's it really. Swing 7 into leader. It's nice actually we run 3 Kikunojos in this list, by the way, so it's nice to have your opponent down to 3 life. So we had the option there to swing 7 into Daz Bones. 1, we probably wouldn't have got it off the board, and 2, if we did trigger a Kiku, we wouldn't have got it. And we have a lot of life now, so we have a lot of opportunity for triggers. Our opponent makes a slight misplay here, that they swing 6 into the wrong Zoro. So they swung 6 into the Zoro that was not minus cost. And because of that, they would have got both Zoros off the board there if they had sequenced correctly, but they did make that error, which we're not mad about at all. Especially that we have a Sky Island on board. So what we choose to do is swing into their leader. They actually give us a bunch of counter, which is very good because now we can get the double attack off. So our leader is on turn 5 on 1 life. They can use the Croc, but the Croc doesn't really do anything for them. They swing 6 into the Zoro, they can have it, and we pull into a Raigo. Our opponent plays the Shadow Luffy and not the Crocodile, which of course makes sense. There's nothing to freeze with the Crocodile. If they had played the Crocodile, this Raigo would mean nothing in our hand. We played the Gecko, but they did use the Shadow Luffy. So what we're going to do here is KO it straight away, and our opponent went from a 7k leader to a 5k, and we are considering how we want to use our Don. I think it is best to swing 9 into them because we want to keep a body on board. Of course, our opponent could remove it by using the minus event or using a bond play, but they instead use Crocodile and Freeze, which actually is something I probably should have saw coming, and I should have swung 5 with it anyway. But look what happens. We take 2 hits, and on our last life we get a Gekimoria trigger who triggers out his Orojoro, so we went from 0 life back to 2, and now we have triggers in hand and we are able to build up a nice old board for ourselves. We have enough counter to get out of the final swing, and our opponent concedes at the end. We were able to win on the crackback, in all fairness, so they didn't really have an option there. We just had enough counter. It's very useful to have that 0 cost event in deck. Of course, the trigger is amazing, and you saw we were 1 life away from getting that trigger earlier. Really what it is that this deck runs a lot of bricks, and so having that 3k counter in hand is really, really good for defense and for consistency. Good game to our opponent. I think they might have made some slight misplays, but all in all, they showed some solid Croc gameplay, and we got very lucky pulling that Raigo when they put down the Shadow Luffy. It would have been hard to go for a game otherwise. We are facing up against Red Shanks, who I've seen on the scene on YouTube a bit more coming into prevalence, so I wanted to show a game against Red Shanks, see how Yellow Enel does against it. We get a Thriller Bark trigger from the first life, but nothing in trash, which is unfortunate. Our turn, we play out a Hiso, and we swing 9 at their leader. We don't really have much to play, so we choose not to. Opponent swings 6 into us, and we will most likely counter here, or rather we will take. Our opponent has 4 life, not 3 life, so we don't get the Kiku trigger, which is unfortunate, and they play out the Lucky Root blocker. By the way, in the first turn, our opponent also swung 5 with their Uta. This is why our life is at such a low figure. Our opponent protects the 6k swing with leader ability and a 1k, and we actually choose to use the Luffy here to swing, because they're not really going to block out of it, and if they do, or they could block out of it, but they'd lose the blocker quite easily. Unfortunately enough, we get another Thriller Bark trigger. We just don't have Thriller Barks in trash, but now we do from Enel's leader ability. They play out a Law, which is quite cool to see actually. In this deck, it is hard to remove It minuses power if it's removed by my effect, so I can't Raigo it. And also it can minus 2k. So here we don't go fully aggressive with the double attack. We could just probably like all in the double attack and face what they have coming to us afterwards. We choose not to, which could be a slight error actually when I think about it. But we did want to play that Borsellino for the extra defense next turn. Otherwise, maybe our opponent could have got us on the crackback because our hand is sort of bricky. 9k counter, I think. We finally get off Thriller Bark Trigger, which is brilliant for us. We trash a Kalgahara because we want, of course, the big Enel in hand, and having the Luffy in hand is just always useful for us. And now we'll swing smaller swings here. We'll swing 5 first. Really, we want them to use the Lucky Room to block. If they do, we'll swing into this law. They don't, so we don't. And we use the Raigo here. They use the Lucky Brew to KO the Perona. I thought it was the KO the Borsellino. That was always going to happen. We needed the heal, so it was something we had to do. We should have swung with the Borsellino first. Now that I think about it. So slight misplays here. I'm sorry about that. I think the Yellow Enel gameplay should be better. You think it's a brain dead deck when you play against it because you just heal and put big things out, but there is complexity to it. I'll link this Yellow Enel player in the description who's very good, Merry TCG. I've been watching him, he's very good to watch. I'll link him. So our opponent's actually able to get the Enel off the board, which is in a very, very cool, stylish way. They swing with the Law minus a 2k, put out a Krieg, attach Treat onto it, and activate main to minus 3k to it. So now my Enel is minus 5, so it's an 11k, or sorry, a 6k, because it's minus 6 on the 12, that power that we got. We now swing 12 into Law. We hope we can get it off the board. We can't, unfortunately, and now we are actually a bit scared. We have decent counter in hand, but not all that much, so we do counter out of the first swing. Our opponent can, if they'd like to, swing a bunch with their characters into my board, and I will try and protect, but not all that much. Okay, so that's enough for me to protect, definitely. I'm just figuring out what's the best way to do this here, and it is to trash the Raigo and give him a 2k. Now they're swinging into the rest of my board, and there's not really for me to freeze. Everything's after swinging, and I don't really have counter for that anyway, so I didn't have a choice. So the line here is 12 into 7, and then it is 15 into 7 as well. GG's to my opponent. They had 1k counter in the end, so they were fairly bricked up. Very good game. Like, their deck was very cool. The introduction of Krieg from OP15 into it and using the Law to minus power makes it a very strong control deck, and they were able to use their leader ability very effectively. I mean, their board state is much better than ours. It's just that we were like resilient, I guess. We had a lot of options there. We also had the Luffy in hand, so we did have a finisher, and that Luffy having rush is so useful. So a good game to our opponent. It was, and that Red Shanks deck is real. Those are the games. I do believe I played a bunch of games today and I sped them up very much, so if the commentary was a bit slow in places or I was trying to catch up, just keep that in mind. And I'm aware the gameplay could have been better. I've made maybe 2 or 3 decisions that I think are suboptimal, so please let me know in the comments what you see and what I could do better next time. I'll link Merry TCG in the comment section as well, because he's a really good Yellow Enel player, and if you're interested in this deck, then I think he is the best content creator for it on YouTube. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more, you can subscribe freely. I post every single day. I'm really enjoying the OP15 grind. I'm going to start getting some ranked gameplay online more and more. I have some budget decks, some meta decks, some rogue decks, all sorts of stuff in playlists. So, you know, I'd really appreciate the support. And without saying too much else, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.